Hello, my friends. This is Jeannie. Welcome back. If you are a first time visitor, welcome and thank you. I want to share with you the progress that I have made so far on a project that I have been working on for weeks for my Girl Scouts. We are quickly approaching the tail end of the Girl Scout season, and this is about the time of the year where we have a Court of Awards. And at this Court of Awards, the girls are presented with all of the badges, pins, and patches and other awards that they have earned for the second half of the Girl Scout season. If you have been following me for a while, if you've been, walking with me on this YouTube journey, then you will know that I take a lot of pride in making nice presentations to house all of the things that my girls have earned. And my feel on that is, if they work hard and put in the time and effort to earn these awards, then that hard work and dedication really should be reflected in the packaging of the awards they present. So I take my time to make items custom for them, unique for them, something that could be a memory, a memento, something fun, something that'll just light up their faces. And it's really now to the point where the girls actually do look forward to the Court of Award every year, not only because they get everything, the awards and stuff that they've earned, but they're always wanting to know, what is Miss Jeannie doing for us this time? So it's exciting. I enjoy doing it. I never make it easy on myself. I got to tell you that. I go in big and I take on some ambitious projects. This time around is no different. What I decided to do was alter some Nancy Drew books that I have collected from Salvation Army, Savers, from I think I got a good part of them from eBay when I just wasn't finding them anymore at the Salvation Army or Savers. But I collected enough books to make these journals. And essentially what I am doing is, for each book, I start off with, this is what the book starts off as. It's a beautiful cover. I love the covers. It has this beautiful vintage vibe to it. What I am doing is gutting the book. So I start with these beautiful books, and I get them relatively inexpensive, and I gut them. I take out the inside, okay? And you have to do this part carefully. You really have to have a lot of patience, because when you don't, what you can potentially end up doing is what I did in this one. You see, I got too aggressive, I got too impatient, and I ended up cutting the spine of the book, which is fine because it's something that can be easily repaired. And if it's really bad and I can't repair it, then what I will do is cut the spine off and just use the front and back cover for a different project. So this is one that I cut pretty badly, and I don't know that I can save the spine, but I love the cover, and I will use this to make a little journal for me. But just to demonstrate what I did is, I took each book and I gutted the book, essentially. And what you're left with is the front and back cover, connected, of course, by the spine. And the spine is very thin. So I knew that I was going to sew a signature through the spine. And what I did was, in order to reinforce that, I used some Tyvek. Now, Tyvek is a super strong material. It's the same material that is used in mailers that, what are those mailers? Those post office mailers. If it fits, it ships, like those priority mail packages. I would not, let me say this, don't go to your post office, pick those up, cut them up, and use them for your projects. That's a no-no. You don't do that. I think that might actually even be illegal. What I did was, I went onto Amazon and I ordered a package of the largest size I can possibly find of plain Tyvek envelopes, relatively inexpensive. You can also pick them up at Staples. I cut the envelope down, as you can see. One envelope was good enough for all of my journals. And what I did was I cut it down to strips that were wide enough to cover the spine of the book, and also have some a generous amount of overhang on either side that I can glue down to the front and back cover. That stabilizes the cover big time. Let me show you one. You can't see it here because I lined. Oh, maybe I have one that's not lined. Hold on. Hold on. I don't think I put paper in this one yet. So yeah, here we go. Here's one. So I glued it down. Okay. And you can use red tape, double-sided tape, whatever tape you have. You definitely want some strong adhesive. You also want an adhesive that dries flexible, or remains flexible after it dries, so that you can close the cover without it having like that crocodile stuck open in this position feel or look to it. What I use is this pH Neutral PVA. It's a professional quality bookbinding glue. I use this for other projects, so this is something that I have in my craft room. It is somewhat expensive. If you don't really alter books on the regular, I really don't even think it's worth getting something like this, because it's not cheap. I get mine from Amazon. I've had this one for since probably October, November of last year. Okay. It takes me a good many years to run through one of these bottles, but I do a lot of book altering and stuff like that. So it makes sense for me to have this, but you can use double-sided tape. You can use Tombow Mono Liquid Glue. This works well. But you can probably use fabric tack, glue. Point is, something that dries flexible. I put that strip on there, and now I have a super, super reinforced book. I can sew or stitch into this spine and not worry that it's going to rip or tear. I know my girls can flip through the book repeatedly, and I don't have to worry that it's going to fall apart, because I really do want these to last a long time. So once I added that strip in the center of each book, I then covered the inside and outside cover of each book just to make it fun. You could leave it like this, right? You could leave it like this. It's fine. It's, blank on both sides, but I wanted some color. I wanted some fun. So I took some paper, and I'll tell you the names of the different paper pads that I used in a little bit, but I cut some paper down to size. I used some of this same Tombow Mono Liquid Glue. I absolutely love this glue. It's quick dry though, so you really don't have but maybe 1 second, if that, to basically adjust and make sure things line up well. I pre-cut these. I pre-measured them, obviously, and I cut them and I check, so I know it fits. So I don't have too much to worry about in terms of adjusting. So I don't mind using this glue for this particular part of the process. But if I was doing a part of the process that I knew I needed more time to move things and align things, then I don't know that I would necessarily use this glue. They have another version of this glue. It's the Aqua glue, same company. This dries super quick. This, you have a good 3, 4, 5 seconds before it starts to dry. And even then, it doesn't dry 100% super quick. So quick projects with little time to adjust, more time to adjust, use this one. Otherwise, you can use whatever glue you have. But that's my take on the glues. So let me finish this back cover now. So once I added the front and back cover to, or the pages, the decorative pages to the front and back for each of the books, the next part of the project for me was to get all these signatures together. It's a single signature book. I'm only making one signature because I'm not, if I wanted, it's only really enough room for one signature. If I wanted to add more signatures, I would have to basically remove the spine from each of these books and create a different spine. I usually, if I want 3 signatures, which is traditionally what I like my junk journals or journals to have, the spine would be anywhere from 2.5 to 3 inches, depending on what I'm using that book for. This one, I knew I had to make 12 of them. I did not want to have to create or recreate the spines for 12 books. It's a bit much. So I decided to keep the original spine and make it a single signature. Okay, so I think, look at the cover. Look how cute. That is absolutely adorable. You have the Tyvek in the center. I'm going to do a pamphlet stitch to secure my spine to the book. So there's plenty of space here. This is the signature, and I'll go over that with you in a little bit. But look how beautifully it fits. It has a little lace. That lace serves another purpose other than just decorative, but I love the way that it peeks out a little bit. And so once I get done, they're going to have a book that looks like this with tons of pages for them to journal in, and it'll also include whatever items they have earned to date. So that's how I created the cover. The covers, time consuming for no other reason than you really want to be careful. Really want to be careful in how you cut or gut the book, because if you're not careful, you might end up with this boo-boo. Oh, I was so sad when I cut through this book, but I'm going to save it because I love the kitty cover. I'll reuse it for something else. I'll recreate a spine. And then you end up with a lot of these book pages. What I like to do is go through them. I keep them intact until I'm ready to use them. And I usually you could create small envelopes with this. You can create embellishments with this. You can use this in junk journals. The illustrations are great in a lot of these books and good for decorating your junk journals. You can also use it for glue books. I mean, there's lots you can do, but I keep them intact until I'm ready to use them. It does, however, eventually get to a point where you just have too many, especially if you alter books on the regular. So that's how I made the spine. I mean, the covers for each of my books. And once I had the covers done, I started working on the signatures. So the signature is basically the little booklet that's going to go inside each of the book journals. What I did was I wanted to make it super easy because I knew I had to make so many of them. I've never made this many in one at one time. It's it's a lot, but and it's also the first time that I'm doing this particular style of book, being so small and single signature. So it's a lot of firsts here for me. So, but it's coming along. Let me show you the papers that I use. What I decided to do was, instead of overthink this, what I decided to do was use some of my 12 by 12 papers, pick 10 sheets for each book. I think it's 10. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 10 sheets for each signature, and cut it down to a size that would fit inside the book. Okay, so I measured twice, cut once. Is that how it goes? Measure twice, cut once, so you make sure your signature fits. Once I determined what the size was, I went through my 12 by 12s and just pulled 3 pads. As it worked out, each pad created or was enough papers to create or 12 of the books. So the 3 stacks that I use, and you can see, look, I use almost the entire stack. I might have like some cut aparts in some of them that are left over, but I use the entire stack. This one is called the My Sunshine stack. It is by Die Cuts with a View, and I'll show you some of those papers in their journals. Another stack I use is by Pink Paisley, and this one is called Hello. This is a great way to use up paper. That's what's left over from this particular stack. A great way to use paper. And then I also used by my mind's eye. This one is called Lime Twist. So you're wondering how, Jeannie, how did you decide what paper stacks you were going to use? I just picked stacks that kind of had the same vibe as the book covers themselves. And I also picked stacks that have been in my stash for a little bit so that I can use them up. So that's how I chose my stacks. Good way. I killed 3 12 by 12 paper pads with this project. I mean, that alone makes me happy. So once I got the 12 sheets of paper, I just cut them so that they were the right height, the right length, folded them over. Now, when you do fold over that many sheets of scrapbooking paper, especially from these paper pads, it's heavyweight paper. It's not cheap, thin printer paper. This is like thick cardstock quality papers. When you fold over that many and create a book, you can't help but to have this happen. You see how even though all of these pages, each of these individual pages is cut, each of these individual pages, right? I haven't sewn them together yet, so I can pull them like this. Each of these individual pages were cut to the same size, but when you put them into each other, they kind of start doing this, where they start sticking out. It's not perfectly flat and aligned along the front of the book. You have a couple of options. You can, first option, if it really bothers you, is to just take a straight edge, lighten up with the edge of the book, right? Get yourself a nice sharp X-Acto knife, okay? And you can start trimming all of the excess that's bumping out, okay? You can do that, and I started to do that, and I did it in maybe 2 of the books, and it became a bit much. It's actually became difficult for me to do because right now I'm having a lot of issues with my hands and my fingers and gripping. I'm lacking a lot of strength in my hands right now. So it really was hard for me to do that. It was a struggle for me to do that. And just doing one book, I could only basically do one book a day. And not even a day. Sometimes I would have to go days between books because my hands would just cramp up so severely. But if your hands are awesome like that and you have all the strength in the world, definitely do that. That's one option, right? Or what you can do, here's a little cheat for you. Get yourself a nice pretty ribbon trim or fabric ribbon trim and basically adhere that to the inside of the first page, the cover page. Make sure it sticks out enough, like here, so that anyone looking at this, you can't see that. You see how this disguises the fact that inside the pages don't exactly line up? Okay, so that's a good cheat. And it also creates a little bit of an embellishment that kind of sticks out of the book, makes it a little pretty, extra pretty, I should say. Is that the word? Extra pretty? But it's a good way to cover that up. Now, when you open the book, will you see it? Sure, but most don't notice it. And it's handmade, so it's not going to be perfect. That's what I love about handmade. It's not perfect. It's custom. It's, someone took the time to make it for you. So I don't foresee getting any criticism for this from any of my girls. They would never. But it's a good way to hide that. Look at that. So I stopped trimming the edges. And what I did was I just used ribbon. I didn't use this color. I used some of this Celebrated ribbon that I picked up at Michael's. This one here is like an ivory color one. And I make sure I got ribbon that was nice and wide so that there would be plenty hanging over to cover my protruding pages. I got a pretty blue one. And my favorite one is this green one. It is really, really pretty. This right here, it's almost all gone. So I picked those up. I cut them down to size. I put a strip of it on the inside of the front page and on the inside of the back page. Yes. And boom, covered up. Okay. So let me show you what the inside of these signatures look like. I tried not to overthink the pages too much. The only thing I did make sure to do is not have blocks of the same colors together or contrasting patterns. But other than that, I just basically mixed up the different sheets from the 12 by 12s. So once that was all done, it was just a simple matter of me going through each of the signatures and decorating them. Also, a lot of the paper that I use was single-sided paper. All of the paper that I use was single-sided paper, which is something that to me is always challenging to use in a junk journal or for signatures, because I don't like to see totally blank pages. So by using single-sided paper, I knew I would have to go in and do a lot of coloring and embellishing to just make it look just a little, I don't know, a little better than just 10 sheets of paper folded over and stuck together. So I used a digital kit. Okay, I used a digital kit I downloaded. It's called Dear Diary. It's by Elsie Bell's Bookshelf, and if I remember, I will try to link it down below. But essentially what that was a bunch of these prompts. These pages with prompts, like describe one dream was one prompt. Another one small goal achieved today, one new goal achieved today, one goal to achieve in 5 years. So it was a lot of pages with prompts. So I used these prompt pages to line the back of, the white side, the plain side of the cardstock, so that in one, it gives them somewhere to write and somewhere to journal, and two, it makes it look pretty, makes it look more finished. You don't just have blank pages looking at you like someone just took 10 pages and folded it in half. I also used envelopes and pockets and stickers throughout the different books. I used stamps. This is a Girl Scout stamp. I actually ordered this stamp set custom from an Etsy shop. Do I still have the name of the Etsy shop here? I might. The name of the Etsy shop. Yes, I do. Look at that. Is Christmas Creations, hand carved stamps. My friends, I got this stamp set, wow, like years ago. So I don't even know if the Etsy shop still exists. I don't even know if she still makes them, but I got them from her and I love them. She basically did the Girl Scout hand sign. She did the Girl Scout logo. She also did, this is Juliet Lowe for me. So I've been stamping throughout their books with all of these images. Here we have a nice little envelope that they can put a photo in or badges in. These pages are awesome for me to attach photos of the different events the girls have been attending throughout the year. I have tons of photos. It's also a good spot. For example, let me reach over and grab one. Here is one of the patches that they've earned this year for they volunteered at a church one weekend and made some bagged lunches for some men at a homeless shelter. So this is one of the badges that they earn. This is something that I can easily stick onto the page. You know, I don't want to permanently stick it, just with a soft little sticker tack or something so that they can remove it and put it on their vest. But I'll put it on a page, and, you know, I'll stamp the date that they earned it. Once they remove it, the girls have a page they can journal on. So that's the whole point of these books. I use stickers, okay? Some of these embellishments will look familiar to you for the last challenge that I hosted a bunch. I received so many handmade embellishments. I use those throughout my books. I do believe Grace, who is Gracie21, made these, if I recall correctly. I also used embellishments that were made by Michelle Bequera and also by Laura Miller. And I still have some more that I want to use, but I stopped for now because I want to put the badges and patches in and make sure that they fit before I keep stuffing the book full with other things. Here's more sticker, more of these prompts. But you can see, here's a page that what I did was I used a punch. This is a Martha Stewart punch. I love, love, love this edge punch. This Martha Stewart edge punch is, I think it's a doily, or it might be a lace edge punch. I don't know the name of it, but I've had it forever. It's one of my favorite punches. Look how beautifully it cut out the edges. It does, you know, it lends some interest to the book. Not, you know, all the pages are exactly the same. I did some stenciling and stamping on the back. This is a stamp. This is a stamp. And that one was one of the, from the Vines and Roses stamp set by Tim Holtz. So what I did was I first went through some of the pages that were blank like this. I didn't cover all of the blank pages with prompts. Some of them I left blank. And I went in and sprayed with my Perfect Pearls. I have an entire collection here of Perfect Pearls. Tattered Angels, more Perfect Pearls. I think most of it was Perfect Pearls. But I used a lot of my Perfect Pearls and Tattered Angels to spray the different blank pages, just to add some color, some shimmer, some shine, some sparkles. And you can kind of see it, maybe see it here. I don't know if you can see it, if it's going to show up. But then I stamped the page and punched the edges. So, you know, I stuck on some of these little craft envelopes. These are, again, some of the embellishments that were sent to me. Some tags I picked up at Tuesday morning. More prompt pages. I took one of the pages and cut it in half. You see that? To create kind of like a barn door or saloon style door here. Saloon, is that it? I don't know. It's a swing door style. I rounded the edges with a corner punch. As you can see on this side, it's more of that shimmer spray. Here's that Juliet Lowe stamp. So I basically, for the past few weeks, have been decorating and altering 12 of these single signatures. Okay. Here's another handmade embellishment that was sent to me in the last challenge. This is a paper. This is handmade paper that was cut out in the shape of a unicorn. It's a whole. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. So I got this at the Paper Source a couple. I think it was last year. I got this at the paper store, 25 fine paper unicorns. It was in their clearance section, and I couldn't believe it. I got it for like a couple of bucks, 25. Beautifully. I mean, the patterns are just beautiful. Unicorns, and I also got the butterflies too. I didn't use the butterflies this time around, but I'm sure I'll use it in a later project. And again, I picked those up at the paper store last year in their clearance section. So each girl got a unicorn. Each girl got the same prompt pages, just maybe laid out a little differently throughout the book. Each girl got at least, excuse me, a couple of pages trimmed like this with that beautiful edge punch. And I can keep going and going. Oh, look at this. This is some ephemera from a pack I bought at Tuesday Morning. Goodness gracious, here. So I think it turned out really, really cute. This is an envelope that I picked up a bunch of these at Tuesday Morning. So basically, imagine making 12 of these covers, gutting, putting the Tyvek, lining the inside of the cover, creating each signature, decorating each signature. It has been a true labor of love, my friends. So I'll show you the covers, all of the covers that I have so far. Here's one cover. Love that. The Mystery of the 99 Steps. The Message in the Hollow Oak. Cool. The Moonstone Castle Mystery. I love it. The Mystery at Lilac Inn. I can't wait for these girls to see this. Password to Larkspur Lane. Really pretty. I even use, you know how sometimes in your 12 by 12 paper pads you have those big, you have a 12 by 12 sheet with this huge sentiment and beautiful scenery on it. And a lot of the times if you don't scrapbook, if you're not into scrapbooking, you really don't know what to do with those pages. I made sure to use those pages. When I cut them out, I make sure to cut them out in a way where that big image and the sentiment ended up being the front of some of the books. So, you know, it's a good way to use up that kind of stuff as well. Here's some of that baby blue trim. Really pretty. The Haunted Bridge. Whoop. The Haunted Bridge. Okay. So, I mean, here's a page. You can see that I splattered with some of my shimmer sprays. Here's more of those handmade embellishments that I received. So those handmade embellishments you sent to me, my friends, are being put to very good use. Here's another one, The Quest of the Missing Map. Love that. Okay. Love the way these books turned out. Really, really do. Really, really do. I'm super happy with the way that they turned out. I still have, here's The Secret of the Golden Pavilion. I still have some work. I use stickers to do. Here, Grace, I'm almost positive Grace was the one who sent me the panda bears. I used some stickers, border stickers to trim or create little borders. This is a sticker here. I used up all sorts of stuff and different things that were in my stash. This is another handmade embellishment that was sent to me. So all those embellishments you sent to me are being put to good use. Here's the Mystery of the Iron Charm, all being put to good use. So what I have to do now, or the next step for me with these books, is to sew the signature. Sew the signatures. Here's the Whispering Statue into each of the books. I also, and the final one is the Clue in the Jewelry Box. This is one that I cut a little bit right here, but I think what I'm going to do is, I thought I can save it, but it didn't turn out, it didn't disguise as well as I thought. So what I'm going to do is maybe take an extra piece of fabric or material and just put it over this one area and cover that up like that. That's a good way to cover it up as well. So there's a lot of ways to cover up little boo-boos like that. Or I might just leave it. You know, it's a little scar. Scar's a character. What can I tell you? So these are the books that I have been making for my girls. This is where I'm at in the process up to now, and this is like weeks of work here, my friend. So what's left for me to do is basically sew these signatures into the book, and I'll do a separate video where I show you how I do that. And like I said, I'm going to use a pamphlet stitch to do that, and I'll share that with you in my next video. And then maybe go through on some of these bigger pages and glue some paper in here to create pockets. Maybe add a couple of flips. Also, what I think, I'm still thinking about it, is what I think I want to do is, before I sew this signature in, maybe punch a little hole in here so that I can put a fastener here and add a dangly charm. Something for me to think about, but then that means that I have to make 12 charms. 12 dangly charms. So, yeah. I love my girls. Did I mention how much I love my girls? I really love my girls. It's the only reason I do this. Is because I love them all. And they earned it. So that's what I've been doing. I just wanted to share with you where I'm at in the process, I should say. And this is really part of the reason why I haven't been posting many tutorials lately. This is a big part of the reason why I haven't been posting many tutorials lately. That's because I've been focused on getting these books done. And I do work on these books at all hours of the night. Usually only on the weekends. My work week doesn't really allow for me to work on it otherwise. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got a little bit of something from it. I hope you're inspired, and I hope you will come back and visit me again. And if you have any suggestions, recommendations on either, I love working with digital kits from different Etsy shops. If you have any recommendations for Etsy shops that have digital kits like this, I love these prompt pages. Prompt pages like this are just awesome, and I love that in journaling. So if you know any Etsy shops that have more kits with prompt pages like that, definitely list them down below. I would love to hear about them, and I'll go check them out and visit them. Other than that, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it down below. Thank you so much for watching, my friends, and I will catch you all in the next video. Until next time, bye bye.